so naughty that I know that you want to, like, watch a man that has a big dick make love to another woman over you, and that I, as a man, is like giving my concept of a man to fight for the right to fight over you. As a woman that likes to watch guys fight over her pussy, I know it's crazy, but I do want to fight over your pussy. I love your pussy. And I know it's nutty, and I would fight any man over the right to fight for your pussy to show that I am tougher than any man else in Kelowna that wants to fight over you. Kind of sexy, right? I really would want to fight any guy over the right to fight to make love to you. It's naughty, I know. And I know that there's guys that might have bigger dicks than mine, but my dick is pretty big. And I will definitely put my penis on the line, the length on the line, the thickness on the line, over fighting over the right to prove that I'm tougher than any of the guys that wants to fight over your pussy. And I know we are all so naughty. We are all so naughty. I know.
All right, welcome back to the Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling. Monty DeFaro. Here I am, Mike Monty. There he is, the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how are you, buddy? What's going on, man?
Good. I was just thinking though, does our guests hear that Hannibal thing like we do? Before
I'm sure they do, and
wow.
You know, if the guest isn't watching Monty and the Pharaoh on a weekly or a daily basis, they may be a little taken aback, but you know, he'll have to understand that there's a feud brewing, and you know, even though Jimmy Farrow just wants to leave it alone at this point, Monty just finds that video is just
the video.
It's just naughty.
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest though, Mike. If something like that was out about me on the internet, I most likely would have probably walked into the most dangerous forest in this country in the wilderness and just lived off the land. I would never want to be seen again. I'd be like, oh God, I've really jumped the shark, Fonzie.
I think it just proves that be careful what your stuff or whoever your stuff gets into the hands of, because if it gets into the hands of the wrong people, you're just going to find yourself in a world of hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta love the internet.
You're right. You gotta love the internet. I'm not going to disagree with you, Jimmy Farrow, at all. So what's going on, man? We got in the Northeast, we've got a big 14-incher coming, and it's not going to be fun for any of us. You know what I'm saying?
Is that the call right now? 14? I had heard 10. You just increased it by 4. Great.
Yeah, it's 14.
Well, this is my fault. You know that, right?
I've blamed you numerous times. I will continue to blame you.
Well, when snow follows you to Panama City Beach and it doesn't snow there since 1988, and you're there for 8 inches and stuff, and people are like flipping out, and I'm like going, wow, here I go with my karma. While the Jets consistently suck, I'm in Florida, it doesn't matter, they suck there, you know. And then I come back here, and it hasn't been bad here from what I understand when I was gone, and here we go. Kaboom.
And here we go.
Number 4 already, by the way. This one's the biggest of them all.
Jimmy, it's been a effing bad winter. I don't remind everybody out there that the Monty DeFaro Show is sponsored by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel, get your bets in. Again, Monty and Faro killed it last week on FanDuel. Jimmy, I know you weren't happy about what happened to the Buffalo Bills. You're not a huge Buffalo Bill fan, but I think both of us have become Josh Allen fans. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. I mean, the fact that they did not review what was, to me, clearly a catch and then a strip away, clearly. You don't review it at that juncture of the game, but to play devil's advocate, don't turn the ball over 5 times.
This is true. So
it is what it is.
I definitely thought that deserved a review. Yeah, I was really upset about the pass. I just don't think there's room for pass interference late in games like this that are being contested so highly.
And to not be reviewed under those circumstances.
Listen, it just goes back to our show from 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's just a work, man. Pro wrestling is not the only thing that's trying to work us on a daily, right?
I agree. It sure felt like it. I thought to myself, I try to think back to when we were kids where games smelled the way these kind of things smell nowadays on a somewhat consistent basis. Fair?
Yeah.
What's going on? What are we watching here?
Well, here you go. It's ultimate drama, man. You rarely see a blowout in any kind of playoff sports anymore, right? We used to watch blowouts all the time. There is never a blowout. Yeah. I mean, we called the World Series. They made sure the Dodgers lost that first game just to keep everybody interested. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember hearing indirectly, but directly enough that back in Wahoo McDaniel's days when he played, he always felt that there was no way a fix could ever get in because there was just too many guys to get the fix in through to have something like it happen back in those days. But we are talking 50 years ago plus. So
it's a different world. Before we get to our guest, I want to remind everybody that the great Shelly Martinez, friend of the show, brings Vampire Radio to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, the Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling, Monty and the Pharaoh, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Last week, she had her ECW reunion, or what we call Interview with a Vampire, with Kevin Thorne. I don't know if you caught that, Jimmy. I know you're a busy man. Did you have any chance to catch any of that?
Only parts of it. I got to get to it in full. Got to be honest, but I love what she's doing so far, and she's getting a great response too. So.
Well, dude, I total, like I said, get ready for Maven #2, right?
Look at you. You're already working it publicly. You crack me up. Here we go.
What do you mean? Well, here we go. I could see the future, man. It's not hard to find out.
Should we be discussing this live? Sure, why not? It's Monty and the Pharaoh. Why do you think that? Just because history repeats itself. So, which proves my theory about you, that insanity, the definition, is repeating something and expecting a different result. You bonehead.
There you go. There you go. But wait a minute. I love when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, what you said will happen when she makes this jump as Maven.
Might as well jump. Jump. Great. It's great.
I hate Shelly.
What?
No, what'll happen when she makes the jump, all of a sudden it'll be like, I hate you, Shelly.
That's it. We don't like her anymore. She's doomed. Doomed. You hear me? Doomed. Here goes Monty. Oh, boy.
And I'll remind everybody, while Shelly's not becoming a multi-billionaire in a couple of months, while Monty the Pharaoh's back, she will be appearing every Wednesday at 7:30 until she screws us over, right?
You keep that up. She'll be appearing never Wednesday. Excellent. Here we go. Oh no! Hey, I know a show where she
that's
can
okay.
go to.
I'll make a call to the bullpen and we'll bring in WFIA Wrestling Network and when it was real. Well, Shelly's gone, but let's bring these two clowns in.
Sometimes real is not necessarily what I want to deal with.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jim. If you bring in like a when it was real, then you know they're not going to become Maven. It's impossible. Right? It's just
Maven.
not gonna...
Maybe.
All right. Anyway, let's get to our guest, and we're going to talk some wrestling with him too. I want to get an idea. This is so pretty cool. A little background, Jimmy. They reached out to us. They got this wrestling movie that's doing really well. And I thought, wow, this is a good opportunity to introduce our fans if they're not already aware of it, and kind of get this thing going a little bit. I have not personally had a chance to watch it yet. Usually I do. I've been a little busy at work, but I will after this interview, and I'm sure it's going to be well. But let's bring this gentleman in. I don't know. Again, Jimmy, I don't know if he really knew what he was getting himself into. He's already going to be part of the Hannibal feud, because Hannibal want to kill him along with Conan and Mario Mancini and everybody else. There he is, Justin. How are you, buddy? What's going on, pal?
Good. I'm doing fine. How are you guys?
All right,
Lovely.
man. So, well, first of all, I want to thank you for taking time, especially on a late Thursday night, to come on to Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling. So welcome aboard, sir. May I ask you to introduce yourself to the fans, give them a little background about yourself personally, and one of the main reasons you're here, this incredible independent movie about pro wrestling.
Yeah, background's been, a kind of eclectic. Eclectic within the world of wrestling. Professional wrestling led me to just getting into a lot of different types of stuff. So, for example, I'm a fan of heavy metal music, gothic music. Wrestling led me to that. What led me to independent filmmaking and acting? Pro wrestling. Pro wrestling led me to a lot of different areas. So if I'm interested in something, most likely pro wrestling led me to that interest. Without pro wrestling, there's basically no interests that are within me. And that's the strange situation. We touch up on it in the Match to Kill a little bit. My family led me to getting so totally obsessed with professional wrestling at around 3 years old. Bought my first LJN. You guys remember that? The LJN Wrestling Superstars WWF Hogan figure. From there, I got Piper. I got Andre the Giant. And we built the whole collection. My cousins, too, were getting really into it. We would have wrestling matches in our basement when we were about 6 years old. We would have a handicap matches. Two cousins of mine, Anthony and Frankie, would gang up on me back when I was 6. So we would, there was something there from early on. And then, took time, think things through, get everything together. Trained with Fleshita Cavacho and the Renegade Angel in Yorktown Heights, New York. And then went in from there, and then just debuted in Massachusetts and took it from there. And then here we got the Match to Kill, and it just showcases a lot of that of my career. And encountered a guy named Frankie Firestarter on my path. So it's been an interesting ride.
Jimmy, you there?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I was waiting for you to lead in, Jimmy.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. When I hear the clicking, I should realize that you're like, boy, I hate the internet.
So to be fair, just so you know, we used to shoot at a television studio, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy moved to Florida. So we were like, we were doing this. I was in the studio, he was on the internet thing. And at some point I'm like, bro, like, since you're in Florida, right, I'll just do it myself and take a shot at it, which I suck at it, obviously, but that's okay. And Jimmy finally came back to New York. So we'll be going back to studio. So he hears some clicking in the background because that's me trying to set up things for the show. And so I apologize for the delay, but I was waiting for Jimmy to lead off with a question.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Well,
Go ahead, Jimmy.
You've hopped all over the place, but here's the real thing: Judas Priest or Iron Maiden?
Judas Priest or Iron Maiden?
You said heavy metal, so that's the first thing that pops out at me. So
I was almost thinking he's doing a death metal thing, man. Right?
Well, I'll tell you, Judas Priest. Got another thing coming. I guess I like Iron Maiden. I'm not really a fan of. I do like the hair bands. I do like Typo Negative.
Right. Well, when you say heavy metal, you're talking to two dinosaurs. So, like, basically, I'm like from the day of the British invasion of heavy metal, and Black Sabbath into Maiden, Priest, and then Metallica and the rest of that stuff. So got a couple of dinosaurs on your hands, But where does it? How did you get through the independent days? Because, like, honestly, Mike and I, especially when we go to cards nowadays, and we really don't anymore, because watching the independent shows, it's just so brutal for people trying to like chase their dreams. I mean, how did you survive all of that through the years and then come to this? You obviously said you're, and by the way, we hate this word, right, Mike? Eclectic, because it reminds us of somebody, but it's not your fault, bro.
I was going to say that to Justin. I'm like, oh my God, what does everybody that makes a pro wrestling movie have to use that word? It's like, well, go ahead.
Yeah, but what was your experiences like when you were a wrestler chasing the dream? Look, from what we've seen of the independents, it's brutal. It's bullshit, a lot of it. And it's a lot of people using a lot of people trying to like chase their dreams. So, I mean, fill us in on how that journey went being a wrestler.
It was pretty traumatic. Took a toll on my mental health. And that is touched up on in the film. And there are two names that are well known. One was well known with WWE and well known as an ECW legend. In the early days, 93, 94, he was around. And that was hard. And those names were mentioned in a promo. I did a shoot promo out in a crowd in New Egypt, New Jersey, at the New Egypt High School. The promoter said, you go out there. And we, inspiration from, the franchise Shane Douglas, when he would get screwed, he would go out with Candido or Tammy and go out on the mic and shoot his load and say, you suck then, whatever it was. So would I do that now? Probably not, but I was young and a bit benevolent at the time. So I did have some screw jobs going on here, money being lost. This had to do with me promoting 2 shows. Those names I will not mention on here. Those names you will hear about in the film that were in the footage of the promo that I did in New Egypt, New Jersey. And it was traumatic. One of the guys I had a bit of I wouldn't say like a close relationship, but he was charming. He was charming at first. And he worked with a lot of big names, had a WWF tryout, phenomenal talent, phenomenal. You guys probably know him, but I don't want to mention him right now. Phenomenal talent. I mean, and when I ended up working his show, he had a promotion in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. And I worked the show for him. He had me manage Velvet Sky, Talia Madison, of course, you guys know that. And he was big on me as a manager in there. I did a tryout to get that booking with Ricky Reyes, who's a great guy, very disciplined, very he's like a martial artist with his attitude, a very great guy. And so I decided after the show with Talia Madison, Velvet Sky, we did with Rebel. I confirmed I would have a show. Okay, now I just mentioned the guy's name.
It's
Rebel. Okay, Rockin' Rebel. There you have it. Rockin' Rebel, Chuck Williams. Okay,
isn't that the dude that like killed his wife?
Yeah. I just mentioned it. There you have it.
Okay.
So he has mentioned the documentary in a promo. Now I did go out on an indie show, 2 shows actually. His name was mentioned in the promo, and I aired my grievances in there. I know a lot of guys are gonna be like, "What the hell is wrong with him? He should not be doing that." The boss confirmed. So you go out there and you do your shit, and you do it. So we confirmed this show. It was going to be called Beyond Extreme Wrestling, Indecent Behavior. And we had Marcus Mathers. I don't know if you guys are aware of him. He's on the indie circuit, and I think he's a WWE ID. His father was booked for the show, and his father, Mark Angel. Mark Angel's a sweetheart. And there you have it. Okay, now you put the picture up. So we had the show booked and everything. Rebel and I confirmed it. It was going to be for August 2006. And in that conversation, we talked about things like, he said to me, "What do you want on a flyer?" And I, said, I assumed right there that he was going to make the flyers. He was going to help promote. And when he said to me, we're going to promote the hell out of it, I'm assuming he's going to have a stake in this, that he's going to volunteer his services. You know, so really you shouldn't be telling me this too much. But again, he probably saw me as being naive and vulnerable, very benevolent, 24 years old, and could get taken advantage of very easily. When you talk about the speaking out movement, I'm on there. I was never mentioned on there, but I'm part of the speaking out movement. So as time went on, I had a wrestler named Mr. Jester emailed me. I don't know if he's still around. Emailed me on MySpace, messaged me on MySpace, and said, there's no flyers up. So I was thinking that, I don't know, I'm fuck, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I had to make last minute flyers because I assumed that he was going to make the flyers. Tickets were not selling. I did everything in my power to try to put things up. There was lack of promotion. I was assuming that he was going to have a part in it. And then I decided I want to cancel the show. As time went on, he kept calling and calling, didn't want to take it. And we got on the phone, we had it out, kind of talked it out, and he was angry. And he then threatened to sue me. He had a lot of lawsuits building up with other people that were even in his school, which was the Top Gun Wrestling Academy, linked to Black Belt Wrestling Organization. So there was lawsuits. It was even on Wikipedia. It said that his career's in a dark cloud because there was lawsuits building up through his school. So I'm not the only guy that was threatened with a lawsuit. As time went on, then I days went by, and then I got a lawsuit by his lawyer, and he claimed he had a great attorney, sent me a lawsuit in my post office. The post office said that if you don't pick this document up, it will send back to Pennsylvania, Phoenixville, wherever. They sent it back. He didn't try to pursue any legal action. It was a bit traumatic for me because we agreed on a lot of things. We had a lot of things in common with wrestling. Like I remember he said, if these guys, and that's his voice, if these guys are going to complain about being stiff, and they're going to say, I'm too stiff, whoever's too stiff, they shouldn't be in the business. Do I agree with that statement? Yes, I do. He said another thing, though, that really caught me off guard. He said to me that, people like to take advantage of me because I'm a nice guy. Do I think by heart he's a nice guy? I think so. I think it's possibility he was too nice. And
we talk about Rock and Rebel here, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's not a nice anything anymore. He's dead, right? So it's like, whatever. But go ahead. Got you.
Yeah, but I think, judging by him, I think he was trying to be a very nice guy to the business. And if you're too nice in that business, you're going to open the door to society's worst nightmares. There was another guy too.
But I'm a little lost here, and forgive me for this, right? So it's like, how is he a nice guy when he's fucking you over and not doing what he's supposed to do? I'm not understanding that. It's like, Jimmy was kind of alluding to this. And again, Justin, we're saying this respectfully. There's nothing more impressive than people that try to pursue their dreams, right? I mean, this is what this world is made of, and that's what's great about this country. But it's like, how do you love something when you get into the deep, dark side of this? Look, Jimmy and I've been doing this a long time. It's literally a bunch of bullshit, right? I mean, most of the time I've never run across such scumbags in my life, right? They'll steal every penny from you. It's almost a joke. It's not. It is a joke. I was almost going to laugh at some point because I'm like, if I ever going to get threatened with a lawsuit, it's from an independent wrestler because you're not getting a lawsuit because those fuckers have no fucking money, right? So it's like, yeah, go ahead and sue me. But my point is, it's like, I'm listening to you speak, smile, because I can tell you love this industry, and I totally get it. But on the other hand, you try to say this guy's a nice guy. To me, he's a scumbag, right?
Yeah,
he's fucking you over, bro.
Yeah. I let me elaborate more on that term. I'm happy you brought that to my attention. What I'm referring to is when let's talk about early stages. Let's talk about if Rebel just broke, he was trained by Rocky and Ricky, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, and he debuted in '88. Let's say he had this attitude where he was so sweet and so kind and very generous and he had this very overly caring attitude. It seemed like sensitive. So there's that nice guy thing, but then there's certain things where, let's say there's a lot of stress put on him, a lot of stress. It's like, for example, you guys look like two secure guys.
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that from, but that's okay. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Well, listen. You're adamant. You seem adamant on things, so that's what I'm saying.
Well, here's the deal, dude. Like Jimmy, at any time you want to chime in,
I really, great, actually, right? Mike, I really do. Justin, was it really coming down to the fact that sounds like he was not able to position himself because he wasn't forceful enough during those days to get himself on the chessboard, to get ahead in certain avenues that would put him where he wanted to go? So, yeah, he was a pushover. Is that what you were saying? Kind of?
Yeah, I'm referring to that because we see things all the time, and I see this out in the open. We see people that were so sweet and so nice, but then there's something where shit hits the fan, and then we see them turn into.
Got it.
I just don't see them like this.
So the nice guy is just an aspect of what you saw of him. In the end, he's a fucking scumbag, right, Mikey?
That's it. Yeah.
I think that's what he's trying to get
Listen,
at. I'm sorry.
When we get to the nuts and bolts of it, guys, here's the deal. We're talking about one guy, and I really want to get to the movie too. And Justin, I want you to continue on with the story. But the fact of the matter is the guy offed his wife and he offed himself. So obviously he was a scumbag, number one. But number two, let's also think about it this way. Everybody is a great guy when they think things are good. And when the going gets tough and then they backstab someone, that's the true fiber of what they truly are. You know, so here I'm listening to this guy, Justin, right? It's like he's telling his story. Here's a guy, and Justin, if I'm wrong, tell me shut the fuck up. But it's like, here's a guy that that grew up loving wrestling, finally gets to achieve his dreams, run into a couple of guys who at least touched something of mortality, not mortality, but touch the golden ticket the second.
The Willy Wonka golden ticket.
They touched it, and everybody's in awe in the beginning when you meet. You know, if you're into rock and roll, you're into politics, whatever you're into, you meet that iconic figure. You're a little taken aback, so he gets touched by it. And then he gets scummed over like 90% of anybody who gets involved in this business. Okay, Justin, continue on with your story.
So that's the same interpretation we have. So we have that in common. That's what I was getting at. Basically, it's basically nice guy, but then when shit hits the fan and stress comes out, we see that. That's really what I'm getting. So we have that in common. So that's exactly what I'm getting at.
But you see, that's what you're doing. So you made a movie about it. We ends up with a podcast that gets super popular, and now we're more powerful than the scumbags that we originally met, and we could just bury them on every fucking show like we do, like Hannibal. But anyway, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. So that stuff that happened added to the character of Gia Savitz. It added to it. So it added more of a kind of a more of a demonic edge. So while this is marketed as LGBT QIA character, there's a lot of different components to it. So what Rebel did and what someone else did, which this name, I'm not going to mention this name, but this added to the character. This added to the character, added the passion, added like this guy is, really has changed. It kind of like when Bray Wyatt altered Seth Rollins or Bray Wyatt altered someone. Rockin' Rebel did that, altered it a bit to the point where I went to New Egypt, New Jersey, Levittown, Pennsylvania. It was much more like different. There was some tension in there, but it was effective, and it also helped other talent like a female wrestler, Vane, where we made that so cinematic with that character. We made her a very cinematic character in a way like you felt like you were watching a horror movie where a woman had to fight for her life against against the odds here. She had to, and that was what was great about that promotion, Northeast, and we touch up on it in the movie, Northeastern Wrestling Alliance, which I hope they bring it back. one day. They tried to make it a broader business. The commentary was incredible, was very professional. They tried to make it a broader business. They had that philosophy. But unfortunately, we got in trouble with the Pennsylvania Athletic Commission because we didn't exactly follow the criteria of the Pennsylvania Athletic Commission, to the point where we had 2 independent wrestlers invade our locker room at NEWA Frostbitten. One is dead, who was on TNA at one point. He's dead, though. I'm not going to mention his name. And the other guy was a well-known trainer in CZW and is still around. He went into our locker room and claimed that he was going to help us get our product out there and help us. What he did was he reported us to the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission because we didn't follow exactly all the rules that the Athletic Commission, the guidelines that they require us to follow. So I understand that these 2 gentlemen, let's say the one guy's initials are NB and the other guy was Z-B. Those are the initials.
Hey, Justin, I got to ask you, why don't you want to mention names? What are you worried about? You're worried that some guy's going to sue you? I mean, what's the deal?
Well, because you want me to? I'll mention them.
Mention all their names. Okay. And what I do, just so you know, I make clips of it, and boom, boom, boom. Okay. Before you know it's in the dirt sheets, just hit it home. Just knock it home.
Okay, we'll mention it right now. Nick Burke, a.k.a. Nicky Benz, and Z-Bar. Those are the names here that invaded the locker room. And I understand that there was some guidelines that we didn't follow, but this was a very thuggish, mafia-like way of doing things. So you claim that you're going to help us, and then you decide to sneak around and report us. It was a little, and the promoter, George Nadiella, was totally devastated. Extremely devastated. He felt his dream was taken away. His pride was taken away. And I feel like George, if he's listening right now, hasn't been the same since then. And this company was so dear to me, dear to my heart. I felt like I owned the company, which I didn't, but it was so dear to me and I was so passionate about it that you could put any name in that NEWA ring and it would be like, okay, I'm not going to get so nervous. I'm going to be calm in this, because that's how much this promotion was so dear. It's like it was such a, it was amazing. There was so much sunlight. That's a phrase. The sunlight shining over us, and that's how beautiful it was. We didn't have these amazing crowds, but we were hoping for it. Bret Hart even said something nice about us, and we had this underhanded stuff by these other guys here. And I will admit, Z-Bar was giving me hell before that show. He was messaging me right before NEWA Frostbitten. And then, lo and behold, they go in there, brings Nick Burke in. And Nick Burke is respected on the independent circuit. Very, very well respected by a lot of guys. And this is what, So I'm going to come clean. And I didn't mention this in so much detail in the Match to Kill because we got other components that we do have to discuss that are very important. But I will mention this here on the podcast here. Is that I did have up and downs in my wrestling career, specifically. There he is, Z-Bar. I got
to be honest with you, I don't even know who the fuck that guy is.
Well, he was on TNA Explosion. Okay. So,
well, know what? If anything, what's happened at TNA on what is it, AMC with 95,000 viewers, they're in trouble already. What are you gonna
do? Justin, take me through this for a second. These guys show up at your place with your guys. I just draw the picture for me. These guys show up and decide they're going to give you guys the business. What do you guys say to each other? There's a bunch of you guys who worked hard. You just painted this picture about how much you loved it and everybody. What's the deal? Oh, he's in TNA. Oh, we got to let him get away with this. I just
no. We were they were. Here's the thing. George Nadiella was assuming right away that Z-Bar and Nick Burke were going to definitely help us. They were convinced. They were so convincing at that time. And this was a special show for us. Even Marcus Mathers Fathers was working that one. After the Rebel incident, Mark Angel and I patched up our ways and we got him booked last minute. And he said, I like this promotion you got here. I don't think I'm going to get screwed. And Mark Angel has a history in the business on the indie circuit. And he's gotten screwed many times. And here he is saying, you guys seem like good guys. I think I'm going to like this. He was like, okay. We even had one of other Rebels' other boys, the Scorpion, also who was trained by Rebel, also worked that show. So we had something that we were really building. I put flyers up all over the internet right before that show. Even Rebel even messaged me on AOL Instant Messenger to try to get booked last minute for the show. I wasn't even sure if he knew it was me, but he tried to get booked. And it was amazing, horrendous shit right before that show. And then we got this letdown. Z-Bar, Nick Burke are coming in here. You got all these nice things being said by them, by all these people in the industry, and they're coming in. They're saying they're going to help us out. And what did they do? They reported us, and I got to be driving over to my pizzeria with my father that my father owned at the time. I got to be driving over there, going to work. I had puddles of rain pouring on my fucking Jeep Cherokee, and George Aiello has to call me up and tell me that, yeah, we're fucked now because Z-Bar and Nick Burke reported us. I mean, I understand if we didn't follow some criteria here, whatever it was here, but this was very, very mafia-like, thuggish-like. And, you guys are pro wrestlers. This is what a coward does. I'm going to say this right off the bat.
Is this all covered in the movie? Can people look forward to this? So
That's in the next
let's go to the movie a little bit. What's covered in this movie?
What the thing is covered in this movie here is that we do talk. We do show clips from my career, so you get to see stuff from my career. I talk a little bit about it. I talk about my family. I talk about how life was tough. And then we go into Frankie Firestarter. So Frankie Firestarter goes further into the story, and we put more of an analysis, more of a history showcasing what happened there, that was another burden on my path too. So that was hard for me too. So we had, there was, Himalaya mountains all over the place. Himalayan mountains all over the place. And that was on there. So we go further deeper into that. And when you see that, you see how psychological it is. I even was on WVOX radio in New Rochelle, New York. And Frankie Firestarter calls on because I had to promote a show on there for Elite Generation Wrestling, which was owned by Draven Blaze, a mainstay of the Indies. He's a journeyman all throughout the Northeast. Great guy. So I was promoting that. Draven even called into the show. And Frankie Firestarter calls in and insults me and says all these things to me on the phone. So you had that. So we go more further deeper into that in the I want to say maybe 65% of the film. And it's good that we did that because this brings a broader sense into this pro wrestling business. I mean, let's face the facts. The independent circuit overall sucks ass. I mean, let's face the facts here. I'm sorry. These promoters are so fucking stupid and dumb. I mean, they could barely wipe their ass the way they run their shows.
Well, how about crooked, Justin? It starts off with then. You know what? I refuse to believe 100% of them are bad. There's got to be a couple, but in general, it starts with the person himself. This is a crooked carny business on the independent, right?
Exactly. I don't know. Let's face the facts. With the independent circuit, the wrestlers call the shots. The wrestlers own those shows. Who markets those shows better than the promoter or the wrestlers? There has to be some sort of common ground where a promoter comes together with the wrestlers and finds a way to market with the wrestlers. The wrestlers need to think about the company thriving maybe more. Like how Bubba Ray and Tommy Dreamer and all those guys were doing all this stuff for Paulie because they believed that ECW could go to another level. And they did for a brief moment go in national. They got pay-per-view, national, TNN, whatever. So when you look at those things, professional wrestling has the capabilities, not just with Vince and WWE, whatever, AEW, to be a broad business. AEW can't even get broad either. They got Persephone, that female wrestler has the makings to be a big star attraction. Tony Khan doesn't even know what the hell to do with her to make her mainstream. I don't think she's doing well in Ring of Honor, but can he make her mainstream? Who knows? They haven't done anything since they started in 2019. But anyhow,
to be fair to everything too, Justin, pro wrestling's so oversaturated at this point. You've got
It is when he.
you got shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then pay-per-views on Sunday. And then you want to open up an independent show? Like, how much wrestling can anybody absorb? And Justin, I just want Jimmy, I want to say to you, I'm listening to Justin speak, right? And again, much respect to you, Justin, because I could hear the passion in your voice. I could hear the love. And I got to tell you, dude, I'm sitting back here and respectfully, I just feel bad for you because I'm just like, fuck, this guy got fucking chewed up, spit out, kicked around, chewed up, spit out, kicked around. Do you wish you never got involved in this shit? Do you wish you just would have played with your LGN figures in your fucking bedroom and fucking not gone any further with it? Serious, look, I'm being serious. It's like, it's funny, fuck.
It's funny, you guys. It's funny you guys mention that because I say to myself, I wish my mother and father could just be just like all the other parents, and because I come from a very charismatic, over-the-top family. Behaviors like that are going to lead you to say, okay, my mother, when she talks like a wrestler. If you hear the promos too that I've done with the temperature raised, you could tell. I mean, if you meet my mother, you guys, and you guys are New Yorkers, I'm a New Yorker. Which is, you may like her. So she's a New Yorker. So you hear her talk, it's like you're hearing a promo. I mean, she had to go off. She's an overprotective mother. So she would go over the top to defend my sister and I. We're old school Italians, so that's going to happen.
So she was a supporting mother and you're supporting father. Like, hey, Justin, you want to be a pro wrestler? I'm all in.
No.
All right, good. All right, there you go.
They led me, I feel, to escape in that because of their overtop personalities. When I talk about them supporting, I feel like when they were supportive, they wanted to do it to look like larger than life superstars a lot of the times. But we have a good relationship and a better relationship now than before, I think. And they know about the match to kill, and they're accepting things the best they could. That's what they have to do now. They're getting old. But anyhow, sometimes I say to myself, as we're joking around about the LJN figure thing, I feel like as if, like I said, oh God, I wish my mother and father just remained tranquil the whole time, and maybe I wouldn't have gotten absorbed with them. Maybe I would have been the vice president.
You could have been like me and Jimmy's, mother and father. When we talk about wrestling, they'd say to him, "That shit's fucking fake. Grow up."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, but
my
anyhow,
stop.
Yeah, but anyhow, I have to tell myself at the end of the day, you are made up the way you are. You could better yourself, but your heart's lying where it lies. You can't make any alterations to that. So I don't understand what you're saying here about that. But
and by the way, I respect you for that, Justin. I do, because again, I've never been that guy to go, hey man, push it all aside. This is what I want. I'm going for it. Whatever. Mm-hmm. I was the guy like, hey, I like wrestling. Whoa, fuck, I love wrestling. But guess what? I'm not telling the girl I'm bringing out on a date that I watch wrestling. I'm not getting laid tonight, right? So that you know what I'm saying. And look, we're older than you, so that before the day, like wrestling was, you were ashamed to be a wrestling fan, right? You were just like, oh, I don't want anyone to really know.
Wait a minute.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny you mention that because it's like it was so taboo. I grew up in an affluent area, one of those affluent areas that they preach tennis and golf, and they did, but pro wrestling. So they would be making jokes about me. Saying, oh, Justin, I hear you play WWF with your friends. Because we used to do that. We used to do backyard wrestling even back then. So they would joke, Justin, I heard you. So there was all this jokes. But then after a while, they were kind of being playful and kind of said, well, it is what it is. He's standing his ground on his stuff. So, and that's what it is here. And I want to say this to any young person watching now. You have to kind of stand your ground of who you are. There could be some things that are still in development or in a little bit of confusion, but there's going to be certain aspects of your personality that you're passionate about. And I'm talking about an interest here, young people, that you're passionate about. And you have to kind of stand your ground on that you're a representative of that. And there's going to be people out there in school that are going to make fun of you and then bully you, who are having issues themselves at the moment, but they're going to take it out on you and see you for being happy. What can you do? You're going to have to stand your ground, try to do it in a more subtle way. Don't go fly off the handle. And then after a while, those students may say, We like him, we like her, and despite what they're made up of, what they embody, we're gonna embrace them, and that's what I noticed happened through time, and that's what you got to do. Because eventually, sometimes they just give in, they throw in the towel, and they got no choice but to give in to you. They see you every day. Oh, okay, I got no choice. I got to embrace this person. Like, what can I do anymore?
And more importantly, hey kids, when I was in grade school, I got punched in the face for wearing a Kiss shirt, and I'm still a Kiss fan now.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. Now I'm going to tell my story. And kids, always remember, follow your dreams and end up broke on a fucking corner with a fucking box asking for a nickel, because that's what you wanted to do instead of getting a real fucking job. But anyway.
But yeah, so I mean, but getting back to the Match to Kill, I want to get a little into that now. Now, as we get into Frankie Firestarter.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, the trailer is on YouTube, right? So I totally recommend it. I'll be watching it, and me and Jimmy will be reviewing it within the next week or so. But go ahead, sir.
Sure. So, Frankie Firestarter, it adds a broader element to the film, and because it's not just like this, mask guy with a mask going on, wreaking havoc, whatever it is here. It just adds a broader sense to stuff here, and it adds all the issues. Like, right now the young people right now of our generation are in a very tough situation. And I look at the wrestling business now with not all talent, but a number of wrestlers now who remind me of me as Gia Savitz. I don't want to go into all the reasons why I'm thinking this, but I see that now. And, I struggled with, a lot of mental health problems, even in the wrestling industry, even growing up, been in and out of mental hospitals, been on multiple psychiatric medications, you name it, I've been on it practically.
Can I stop you there? Because that's a really important subject. So I'm going to hand this over to my partner, Jimmy. But Jimmy has always felt that this country has let down its people by closing down these mental facilities. Jimmy, you want to take this over, and let's get Justin's take on this, because this is a very important subject. Jimmy, go ahead, buddy.
Well, it really is. Well, my first thought was when he told us that he's been to evaluations in institutions. I thought to myself, my God, pro wrestling was not going to help somebody that was already probably dealing with other stuff, because I can relate to that. As far as psychiatric history, somebody very close and a very dear loved one to me was kept for a very short time, thankfully, in a major psych center that was forcibly closed by the government in 1996, Kings Park Psychiatric Center. The grounds are still there. And I think at one point they held about 9,000 to 10,000 people back in the 1950s in this. It was a city. It's very difficult for me to not draw an immediate line after the psych centers are closed in 1996. You immediately almost have thereafter, because now it's a free-for-all. Medicaid at home. Thorazine has been introduced, and now we can medicate at home. Let's close down all the state-run facilities that were actually backed by churches and religious, places back in late 1800s. These all started with the idea of helping people who were ill. They get closed down. Within a year and a half, we got Columbine. Then we got a Batman theater shooting. Then we got a church shooting. Then we got this shooting. We got that shooting. This one's mad about this. This one's dressing in an animal costume. This one, everything has gone completely batshit. So what are your thoughts on the fact that they did close the psych centers? And was it wrong in premise to try to help people, truly help people who need the help, rather than floating around on the streets on drugs?
No, that is a tragedy. That is a tragedy. Those centers should have been opened, because right now the mental health, we're in a huge crisis. I feel, as I'm seeing a lot of personalities on social media and what they're doing, and how the media is embracing these personalities. But how can you embrace these personalities when there's some stuff that has to get worked out? I had to spend time now. The psychiatric facilities I spent time in are still around. This wasn't so much like institution asylum. This was more of just a basic, it was Four Winds Hospital in Katona, New York. It was New York Presbyterian in White Plains. And then it was St. Vincent's Hospital in West Harrison.
Were you afraid going in at any point in any way? Look, I still know the basics about admittance and the fact that you could be kept if they deem to be kept. Now, some of the horror stories in the old days is there were quotas. People who are actual patient workers that had the best of intentions were sulked by doctors because if you let too many go, the doctors lose their quota and lose their business.
Oh, okay.
You
That's very
understand?
interesting. That's very interesting you mentioned that.
Were
I
you
was always
afraid?
I was thinking certain things about that. That's an interesting. I was saying that to myself too, is that you're right. You know, they may get afraid that, and I don't go to therapy anymore. I have to find ways spiritually to give myself therapy.
You
And I
better.
have to sit down, and I have to sometimes, and again, I have to lie down on my couch. Like
Yeah.
this times on my day off, I lie down on my couch and just reflect. What can I do
Best thing
better?
for you.
Yeah.
Best thing for you.
And a lot of these, you know, a lot of these professionals, they'll push meds on you right away. I'll meet with a therapist, and then 1 week later, you're in the psychiatrist's office. Why do I have to go to the psychiatrist's office when you have to still zero in longer than just a week to figure out, okay, what's wrong here? But instead, you're telling me go on. It was just, it's weird. And I'm just wondering if there's people out there that could have been helped, and we could blame these facilities for causing these massacres to these people. And I've seen reviews on Google from people in like hospitals, St. Vincent's Hospital. I remember that this one woman said, you know, they had my case all wrong. They said they knew me, but they didn't know me. I mean, it was, and then a lot of times they win, and the patient is worthless, meaningless. And there's other organizations like the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I don't know if they do a good enough job with this. You know, I've been to their meetings before, a handful, and I'm just questioning their integrity as an organization and if they even do a good enough job working with these people. Because, you know, something, I see a lot of shit on the streets. I see young people suffering in life, and something has to get done here. And I'm looking at my wrestling character, and you could see the work rate. My work rate back then was on 350 milligrams of Clozaril, was inside my system. And there was times when my work rate a lot of times sucked because that medication was bloating me. And then it turns out I had to go to another doctor. And she said, this guy does not need this medication. Why is he on this? And she took me off. She said, he's on the wrong diagnosis. He has the wrong diagnosis. This diagnosis doesn't match him. He should not be taking this. So it's kind of a corrupt system. And something has to get done about this. Definitely. And
highly unlikely.
Yeah. Well, if Nami is watching this right now, I don't know if Nami people are wrestling fans, but you guys are watching this right now. Why don't you do some better work here? Because a lot of us are getting like ticked off with what's going on. That's all I'm going to say right there.
Fair enough. How do you go from your Hogan wrestling figures to loving extreme wrestling so much? Look, it happened to me too. I was raised on Hogan. I was there for the birth of Hulkamania. I loved Hogan to death. But when ECW came around, I don't know. Is it because we both like heavy metal? How do you go from Hogan, brother, to extreme?
Yeah. Well, when you look at the match to kill, you will see kind of that transformation where Hogan was the start. And there's times I still hold Hogan dear to my heart. There'll be times I'll come home from another job and I'll be home and I'll be watching Hogan on TV, because there's times where, and I'll explain to you what that is psychologically here. If I'm having a rough day at work, I need an escape. What was Hogan to me when I was 3-4 years old growing up? Even Hogan was my escape. So what would I do if I was having a rough time? I would escape into Hogan. So Hogan was the escape. But as times move on, as years move on, I'm appreciating a lot of the different things about wrestling. Even today, I love Nahir Robles. She's kicking ass on the women's wrestling circuit. I worked a show with her in Maine, actually, last year. So doing some behind the scenes stuff. And I think and I actually got emotional in her match. That was out in Puerto Rico for Ground Zero Wrestling. I got emotional with that because it was a triple threat match for her. She lost the title, and I got emotional. I never cried at all for a wrestler before in my life until Nahir Robles worked, because she's a lovable, soft, by heart. I'm sorry, Nahir, if you're watching this, but that I could see that in you. I saw what type of character you were in Maine. I take the fact that you're more of a loving person, and you want her so desperately to win. And she was against these two tough women. It was like you're watching Kumite or some blood sport type and martial arts movie from the 80s and 90s. I was like, whoa, okay. It was so convincing, and this suspended my disbelief that wrestling is predetermined. You'll think this is okay. So Nahir looked like she got knocked out legitimately by Vanilla Vargas in the corner. And I had tears. Tears were building up. I felt for her. So as time is going on, we're having some things little by little building up. And I've learned to appreciate the things throughout this journey. And I think when I talk about my most favorite, here we go. You see that comment there. Thank you. So anyhow, when I think about my most favorite indie promotion, NEWA, while we had this broad sense of things, and we all grew up as WWF fans in, you would say, 80s, 90s at that time, we still tried to adapt, and we had even guys like Kurt Bale and Hollywood Hooligan who went off to other indie promotions and had great success there. So we tried to give a variety of stuff the best we could in NEWA. The ring work wasn't always perfect, but we tried to do the best job to change with the times, give you a little bit of twist of the old, and try to, have hope for what the future could entail. So I'm definitely on board with a lot of today's stuff. It's just that it all comes down to promotions, indie promotions. What kills me in the end with the business at the end of the day is the indie promotion. I have to watch every wrestler on the indie circuit, but in increments. Like, I can't just watch one promotion. I have to focus on, okay, Serena Vale is here. I'm going to watch her here. Oh, Julius Drager is here. I'm going to watch him here. Nahir's there. Nahir's over there. Coraline's over here. Flying Noriega's over there. I can't focus on one company because I feel like the company is not living up to what we fell in love with, professional wrestling.
If I had Hitchcock here, I would have loved to have asked him, what was the message, before seeing the film, of course, what was the message of Psycho that you intended to be? So I'm asking you, as the creator of this film, what is the message of this film? If you could summarize for the fans at home that are looking forward to seeing this, what is the message and intent of this film?
Well, just to correct you a little bit, John Victor Ambrose is the creator of it, but I added more input into it.
Okay.
Because I am the associate producer. He's the executive and producer and director. But
being one of the chefs in the soup, what is the intent?
I would say that we want to build awareness in how to handle life's challenges too. I would say, and how I'd say a specific message in this film in the beginning stages of it. You got to be tough. You got to be strong. And that's it. In life, you can't always reach out to your neighbor for guidance, your friend, your girlfriend. Everyone, we're all on different journeys. We could be in the same business together, but we're still on a different path. You can't burden other people. When your path, you have to take care of your path, and they have to take care of their path. So we're trying to set this tone here where, kind of like when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, but we want to show more. Like, Hollywood is not living up to that today, especially. I want to say that right off the bat. We're trying to live up to and break away that ridiculous Hollywood system that Hollywood is preaching right now, because I feel like they're making all of us cowards now. I'm sorry to say this, Hollywood.
Explain
that.
No, explain that.
Okay, please. I look at the cinema now, and I'm saying, what a crock of shit. What these Hollywood producers are coming up with. What a crock of shit. Okay, we're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to handle life in a great way here, and we have nothing inspiring us like we did. I have to go turn on movies in the 80s and 90s. That's what I got to do. And I feel great today. Oh, I watched Tom Berenger in a movie here. I feel Tom Berenger played a boxer and the strip club owner in this movie. I forgot the name of it with Melanie Griffith. But anyhow, here he is trying to feel strong. What did Tom Berenger show me in that movie? I watched this a few weeks ago. He showed life sucks. He loses his boxing career because he kills a fighter in the ring. What is Tom Berenger? I got to move on. I can't always reach out to someone. I got to fight to get what I want. And that's what he shows. And that's what we're trying to interpret and trying to get to everyone in this movie. That, life is not going to be easy. And you can't always reach out. And I end up wearing this hat in here, this hat in the movie as I'm sitting down being interviewed here. And I know people may say, well, you trying to play Rocky here? No, not necessarily. But it's part of the image that we're having here. Life is tough. And we can't always reach out to the government for assistance. The government ain't always going to help us. Our journey is our journey here. And that's in our hands here. And that's what we're trying to do with this movie here. And that's what we and the fact that we won is making me feel hopeful. I'm not totally thrilled with that award because I feel like I want to see better things happen, more people coming together through it. I want to hear more about that more than an award here. But that's the tone here. We're trying to set a tone here. Now, you have to come back and try to, and I'm going to say this right. Let's make this a hashtag. Hashtag finish the fight. We got to try to come back and finish the fight. It doesn't always have to be a physical fight. There could be some emotional fight you're dealing with. Frankie Firestarter is this thing that it could represent a lot of things in your life. It's a inhumane person. I'm going to put it right now, but it kind of represents a lot of things, a lot of challenges we have. So, you got to remain tough. You got to remain strong. And that's the thing here. And this is a tough person film. This is, quote unquote, like only the strong could survive documentary. That's what it is setting here. Now, when you watch this, guys, you're going to have a lot of questions as to what the hell is going on here, because a lot of people are going to want to know what is happening here. They're going to be thinking, is this leading to something what is going on here? Is this leading to someone coming back in the ring? Is this leading to someone doing this? People are going to be saying, I haven't heard the feedback, all of it yet, but a lot of people are going to be saying who, what, when, where, how, what is going on here? It's not confusing, but there's something building here. And I'm not going to say anything, but maybe we're trying to still figure that out, John and I. But the thing is, the message here is that this is a tough guy film, tough woman film, tough person film. This is like one of those martial arts. It's a documentary, but it has that martial arts type tone into it. That's how I look at it, at least. I don't know how about John feels, but some look at it.
Justin, where can fans see this film?
It's on Fawesome TV, and it's on Stash TV through the Amazon Fire app, and also it's through the new Relay app. Now, Relay, you have to have a membership, $4.99 a month. Fawesome TV and Stash TV, that is free. We're trying to get more outlets out there. We're trying to get more eyes on the product here as much as we can. But when you
what if I'm old school? Is there a way I could reach out to maybe a website or something like that and buy a copy, like an MP4, or is that possible?
You have to Fawesome. You could just go on Fawesome TV regularly. You could put in the link to the Match to Kill and just watch it for free like that. You don't have to type in anything. So.
Wow.
Pick Relay. Before you sign up, you watch the trailer, but then you got to sign up and pay $4.99 a month. But right now, this is what we have right now to try to get more exposure out there. And then also we have an incredible comic book, which is that you have to pay for it, which complements the film. We have 3 collective covers. It's called The Ballad of Gia Frankie.
Oh God, you got variant covers. Here we go, Mike. It's the 90s again. Go on. I was in the business, Mike. Go on.
So we have the default cover, which is kind of has that like martial arts type feel to it, Karate Kid, Bloodsport type image look, somewhat. Then we have the variant cover of Gia Savitz, of me. You guys got work by this guy. Oh, thank you. Anyhow.
Different artists or the same artist for all 3?
We have Josh Adams, who does all the artistry.
Okay.
Actually, all the comics.
By the way, this guy says your dad makes great pizza.
What?
He's the biggest goof in Westchester. His dad makes it. Okay.
Trump 32.
Yeah, I wonder who that could be. Man. Well, see, now I don't know if that's Frankie Firestarter, because that's what Frankie did when I was on the show. So who knows who the hell that is? I guess we got to. You see, this is what happens when I had to enter the wrestling business. We always have a Himalaya mountain in my life. Anyhow, the comic book. So we have the Gia Savitz variant cover. Then we have a third one of Frankie Firestarter, which is another incredible one. And those are available in physical and digital. The Frankie cover is only available in digital, though. And you can find those on www.legacycomics.com. You go on there, you just go to search, type in The Ballad of Gia Frankie, and you'll find all 3 covers on there. It showcases a lot of stuff in there. It showcases not a lot of stuff, but it showcases stuff about, growing up, watching wrestling with my friends, training, going in there with the training, and then going in there and working shows, and then meeting up with Vane, the female wrestler, who was incredible to work with. And yes, we did intergender wrestling, but what did I prove in the end? When a woman is down to her last legs and she has that heart of a lion, she's gonna encounter the most insurmountable odds. And that's That's what I always saw that character as. And then, we also go into Frankie in there, and Frankie is more mysterious in that case. So it's just, it's incredible what this journey has been. And, John and I have went through hell and high water with this movie. We have, because we originally had the Ballad of Gia Frankie movie, and it didn't do that well. We won no awards, and we realized, due to all the pressure we were under from people in the film industry and our wonderful interns that we had, they pushed us so hard to finally change the direction, and we added more footage. And we added 2 shoots in Yonkers, New York, and at Gino Caruso's East Coast Pro Wrestling School in Lake Hiawatha, New Jersey. And Gino's a great guy, and I like Gino a lot. And he also has a lot of students now. If you guys want training, he has a lot of students now. Invading his school now. He has a lot of students training with him. When I saw that when I was at the school to do the film. So he's doing pretty well. And he's an old school guy, and he trained Nunzio. Nunzio was in WWE, ECW, had Bull James. A lot of guys came out of there. So it was great that Gino welcomed us in. And I know I made a critique on indie wrestling and these promoters, but Gino's always been a great guy. And I've known Gino for years. I've known Gino. He's always been a sweetheart.
Well, with that, Justin, we want to thank you for joining us. We're going to put the link on. Good luck with the movie. Thank you for a candid interview. Really appreciated you sharing your thoughts. And I'm glad you followed your dreams, man. I'm wishing you the best.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. And guys, it's been a pleasure having me on. I really appreciate it.
Have a great weekend. Get out of the snow, brother.
Oh,
thanks, you. Take care.
Be well. Jimmy Jam, what'd you think, buddy?
Cool. That was cool. Fucking independent wrestling. Brutal.
Again, I want to remind everybody the show is brought to you by FanDuel. We'll be talking about the playoffs in a minute here. I wanted to do some quick cleanup here. I want to remind everybody the Sunday snowing. Eli, the Eliminator, joins us at 2:00. That's posted. So join us while you're having your hot cocoa and watching 14 to 16 inches land on your property. If you're in the Northeast, if you're I heard they're even having snow in Texas. So join the Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling, what we're calling Snowed In Showdown. Eli, the Eliminator, will be joining Monty and the Pharaoh. Jimmy, a little news has hit. TKO has reached out to Vince McMahon. Actually went to his home. You might be seeing the return of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Thoughts about that, Jimmy?
I had heard about that, and I thought to myself, could it be? And it's silly to ask anything involving Vince McMahon as a definitive, that could never happen. Really? Well, Mike, what would you do if all of a sudden No Chance in Hell hits and he comes flapping them arms?
Well, first of all, what do you think the fans would do?
Where are we putting this show? We know not to put it where they put it for Hogan.
Well, that's for sure, right?
Where are we putting this show? I mean, are we?
Can we dig a little deeper though? Let me ask you this question.
Oh boy!
Why would the WWE TKO bring Vincent Kennedy McMahon? Do you think things are getting bad?
Things are very stagnant. As a business, if you're the guys who are like in charge of everything, maybe you do want to talk to Vince McMahon. Why wouldn't anybody still want to tap the resources if those wheels are still spinning upstairs? I'm sorry, wrestling has become bland and sterile and going through the motions.
But here's the thing, Jimmy. I was thinking about this. CM Punk has clearly talked about how much he hates Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Considering what the wrestlers did, and by the way, catch us as we're hitting the dirt sheets regular. We just hit another recent one with an older interview with Jerry Lynn talking about wrestlers on social media. With the wrestlers that walked out on Hogan during his tribute after his death, CM Punk clearly stated he came back once he knew Vince was gone.
Right.
What kind of upheaval was that bring to this? Again, we just had our guest on who worked the independents, and he talked about the wrestlers running the locker room. Yeah. Vince McMahon never let the wrestlers run the locker room. Paul Levesque, Triple H, has certainly done that, in my opinion. What happens?
What happens is if Vince McMahon comes in, first of all, what role is he coming in as? If he's just coming in as Vince McMahon to make a Vince McMahon appearance as Mr. McMahon, the whole thing changes. And I'll tell you one thing: no matter what, if Vince McMahon walks into that locker room or walks into the back, ain't nobody saying shit to him. Nobody's saying shit. So whatever the hell happens afterwards, if somebody chirps afterwards, let them. If they decide to bring him in, it's for a damn good reason. And if they did bring him in, it would be a shot in the arm because, my God, this is boring as fuck. So you want my take? That's my take. I mean, you bring Vince McMahon in, you got a problem with that? Obviously, if the upper people are saying bring Vince McMahon in, cha-ching, shut the fuck up, cash your check, and it's Vince McMahon. None of you would even be there without Vince McMahon. Right back to the way I've always felt about Vince McMahon. Oh, well.
I think if Vince McMahon comes out, the crowd goes fucking nuts. And if he gets a Hall of Fame induction, forget about crazy.
Come on. They should.
I want to remind you again, this week's show, The Match to Kill, was brought to you by FanDuel. Jimmy, I want to go over this week's odds. We have done well. You have done well. I have done well. Monty DeFaro brought to you by FanDuel. Here we go. We're walking towards the Super Bowl. Who would know it? Yeah. New England against Denver. New England minus 4.5 up against a backup quarterback. Listen, 14. New England's going to get 16 inches of snow. What are you thinking?
You can play with the point spread. I'm not like you as far as the expertise. As far as the game, New England's going to win. I just feel New England's going to win. That's it.
I think, unfortunately for us Jet fans, I'm going to be right. 4.5. New England's going to win, and we talked about at the beginning of the show blowouts and the setups. I think New England's blowing them out.
I think New England wins one way or the other. I actually don't smell a huge blowout because I don't think Peyton. I don't know. I got a lot of respect for Sean Payton. He's very Parcellian in his attitude about things, and he gets results. I think it's going to be a pretty close game in the scratch out, but I think New England's going to win it. And it's going to be some.
So if it's a close game, you're going with Denver.
No, I don't like the point spread stuff. That's what do you feel about the point spread stuff? I don't think.
I think it's going to be a blowout. It's 4.5, right?
Beat them solidly. I feel. You know what? Take the point spread. I agree. It's still New England. You know,
Rams, Seattle. Your boy Sam Darnold looking to go in. Who would have thought this? Going into a Super Bowl. Minus 2.5 against the LA Rams. Rams making me a bit of a believer. Dude, I gotta tell you, man. Damn, Chicago had them last week. We covered. We were right. We covered, but Chicago had them. Was that a Hail Mary at the end of that game, and then they lost in overtime, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I think of Sam, do you realize what almost happened? Not to go nutty here during the FanDuel segment, but do you realize what almost could have happened? If this happened last year, let's say this happens last year, Sam Darnold, if he gets to the Super Bowl, could have possibly been facing Zach Wilson, who was backing up on Denver.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah.
If this almost aligned itself, I was like, oh my God, could you imagine as a Jet fan what that would have been like? I would have been like, oh my Lord. But I don't think Sam Darnold's going to get past the Rams because of Stafford. I thought to myself, I'm such a patriot, sufferer with being a Jet fan all these years. I thought to myself immediately after I heard Bo Nix went down with the break. I said, yep. There it is. There's the free pass to the Super Bowl. Yeah, you got to play the game, but I still feel like they're going to the Super Bowl. And I thought to myself, oh, God, please let Matt Stafford beat the Bears, even though I like the Bears. I was like, please, because I really believe the only one who will stop what's happening with Vrabel and this charm run, the light schedule, they wiped everybody out all year. Then you got this happening, and here's an injury, and whoa, hey, home court against the backup quarterback. Only Stafford can stop this. So I feel like, if Sam Darnold gets to the Super Bowl, I just got a feeling Vrabel will mentally decimate him. So I'm praying that Matt Stafford and all those other studs with championship experience can finish this off as a longtime Jet fan.
Rams plus 2.5. It's the Rams against New England, Super Bowl. Go with the points with those teams. You heard it on Monty and the Pharaoh, and you could get it on FanDuel. Thank you, FanDuel. I got a reminder every Wednesday at 7:30, Vampire Radio on the Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling Monty and the Pharaoh channel. Catch her. We might be losing her once she becomes a millionaire. I've said it before. Again, this Sunday, Jimmy and I are joining WCCW star Eli, the Eliminator, on Snowed in the Showdown. Did I say that right? Jimmy?
The showdown in the Snowdown? I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know either. But anyway, you want to send us out again. Let's not get caught in the snow, my friend. You know what I mean?
Oh, God. Well, you know what? Lifelong New Yorkers, we signed up for this shit. You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, Happy fucking New Year, and all that other good stuff. Somebody get us a shovel.
Couple things I want to cover, Jimmy.
Yeah.
500 level has now improved on the M&P code. Now go to MP30 for 30% off. Jimmy, I got to tell you something, right? I was at the beach, again, 500 level. If you guys haven't looked at the shirts, right, go to the website. It's incredible. And I got to be honest, right? So it was a little chilly today. I brought the dogs to the beach. I was off work for the Jewish holidays,
today.
right?
It was
cold,
yeah.
but well, I have from 500 level, I have a Roman Reigns sweatshirt. Now, usually sweatshirts are not always the nicest fabric, unless I'm into really nice fabric because I just don't like things up against my skin. So usually I'll get thinner type of shirts, but this is a heavy sweatshirt. The fabric, unbelievable. And you're going to get a deal at 30% off, Jimmy. I mean, my God, it's a no-brainer, guys. I am telling you, once you get one shirt from them, you'll get 50. I guarantee it. And they've got all the sports. Yeah, dude, tell me what you think of it, Jimmy.
They're so comfortable. I got to get a long sleeve now. I'm telling you, I got to, because it was chilly today, especially for a guy who's been in Panama City Beach the last 2 years. It was chilly today, and I love the material. It's so silky. Is that the right word for it? I don't know.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
It's so comfortable. So, yeah, I got to get myself some leveled long sleeves. That's for sure. 30%.
And again, it doesn't, they got plenty of wrestling stuff. They got baseball stuff. They've got football. They got everything, dude. MMA. They got it all, man. And I'm telling you, it's very high quality. Again, 500 level code MP30, 30% off. So if a t-shirt costs you $20, what's 30% off on $20, dude?
It's enough. 10 plus another 20% tacked on top. Not much. It's a steal. It's a steal.
I agree. I want to remind everybody too, the Monty and the Pharaoh show, hit the QR code, be willing to check out our shows on YouTube, where we got almost 24,000 subscribers. Go to our Facebook page where we're approaching 27,000 subscribers.